Hi, today we're going to be working in CorelDraw and Corel PhotoPaint. We want to eliminate a background from a photograph. I've chosen this burrito because it's kind of an abstract shape. What I mean by that is it doesn't have any geometric kind of shape qualities to it. And so a person looking at the final result will not be able to compare it to the original photo. So as long as you do a fairly decent job, you can make this look fairly realistic without spending a whole lot of time on it. If you're like me, a lot of your projects that you work on with photos are going to be for like websites, Facebook posts, things that people are going to look at for a short period of time. As long as it looks fairly realistic, you've done your job. And you really don't want to spend a whole lot of time, since this is not for a high-end magazine ad or a TV commercial or anything like that. So we want to use a technique that looks fairly decent but doesn't take up a lot of our time. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and smash that like button. I just wanted to say that. Anyway, without any further ado, let's get into it. I'm in CorelDraw, and we're going to be using Draw and PhotoPaint, which is what I like about Corel, is these two programs go hand in hand, and you can seamlessly switch from one to another depending on what you're doing. First thing, I'm going to hit my F12, which is my outline menu. And that brings up this little dialog here, outline pen, changing properties when nothing is selected. So I'm going to set my outline at orange so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to make it 3 points for this video so you can see what I'm going to do. It's fairly thick. I would ordinarily use a thinner outline, but I want it to show up on the video here. So we'll click OK. And I'm going to go to my Bezier tool up here on my left menu bar. And I'm going to trace around this burrito. I want to get rid of the plate and the tortilla chips and everything. So I'm going to start right here. And I'm just going to start tracing it out here using a bunch of little straight lines. Hopefully you can see this orange line. You probably will see it better when we get into the black. Now I want to make a bunch of little straight lines. Now I don't always trace like this, but for something like this, I found this is a good way to do it. Just kind of roughly around. The reason I want a lot of segments is because that'll give it a nice abstract shape instead of making it look too fake when we're done. So I'm going right around here using lines about this long so I can trace right around the contour. Now you can probably see that orange line now that we're getting into the dark areas. You can see I'm just kind of going around here. Getting rid of that background. I'm going to go quick for the video so you don't get bored and switch onto another channel or something. So when you actually do this, you might want to take your time a little bit more than I am. But I'm just going right around here. Now that I'm on the smooth area, I can go a little bit longer on my segments, but not too long, because I still want it to have that nice generic abstract shape to make it as realistic as possible without spending an inordinate amount of time on it. So I'm almost back around to where I began. Once I get around here, it'll be a closed path. Just like that. I can use my left mouse button to orange click on my palette, left click on my orange on my palette, and then right click on this nothing here, and that eliminates my outline. Okay. My next step is I'm going to make a big window, bigger than the actual photo. Get back in here. Right click to eliminate that outline and make it, I don't know, whatever color I want. Blue. Click Control Page down. And now I have my orange that I drew and my big blue window. So if I select both of these, I can either go to here to combine, or I have a menu shortcut, Control L, that combines these to make a window. So my orange is gone, and you can see a little bit of this background peeking through. Wherever that's happening, I'm going to use my shape tool here, marquee select these nodes, just drag them in till I don't see that black background anymore. And do it right here too. As you can see, I'm working fairly quickly because I want this to look realistic, but I once again don't want to waste a whole bunch of my time, because this is not for, once again, a TV commercial or a high-end magazine ad or anything like that. Once I'm fairly pleased with the way this looks, I am going to select my blue window, go up here to my shaping menu, which you can find under Arrange. I'm going to use Trim, so I got the blue selected, hit Trim, click my burrito, and that trims away my background so I can get rid of that blue. And now I've got my burrito, and as you can see, it's a little bit unrealistic for two reasons. First of all, I use straight lines to trace it, and second of all, this is sort of a hard edge. What I'm going to do about these straight lines is I'm going to marquee select all of my nodes, and then instead of straight, I'm going to go up here and change them all to curved lines, and then for the nodes I'm going to make it a smooth curve. Now I've got other videos that explain what this means, but if you haven't watched those, I suggest that you do. But once I do a smooth curve, that gets rid of that angular look to it, so now it's a little smoother. And once again, if I see areas where that background's still peeking through, I can pull it in. But it still has a rather hard edge to it that I don't care for. And to deal with that, I'm going to go into Corel PhotoPaint. First, I'm going to hit Bitmap, convert to a bitmap. This is important. I want to give it a transparent background. Even though I've eliminated my background by tracing, I want this to be transparent so that I can eliminate the background. I'll use a low resolution because this is just on the monitor. Okay, now it looks the same, but now it has a transparent background, and I can go into Edit Bitmap, which will take me into PhotoPaint. Once again, that's what I like about Corel. PhotoPaint and Draw work hand in hand. I can go back and forth between them as I please. This green represents my transparent background. I've selected green as my default color. You can change that to whatever you want on your menu. We won't go into that right now. And I'm going to go up here to Mask, Create, Mask from Object. And that masks out my background. What I really want masked is the burrito itself. So I'm going to go Mask Invert, just like that. Now my burrito is masked off and my background is not. Now, I want this to be less of a hard edge. So to achieve that, I'll go back to Mask, Mask Outline, Feather. I just want to feather it a little bit. Go outside, which feathers it outside the mask. And I'll go 6 pixels, and we'll eyeball that to see what it looks like. I'm going to hit OK. Now you can see that gives me a little bit of a blur. If I want more of a blur, I blur it more. If I want less of a blur, I blur it less. But now I'm going to cut my background either using Cut, this little scissors on my menu, or a keyboard shortcut, Control X. And that cuts my background, and you can see now I have a softer edge here. I'm going to get out of PhotoPaint. It will ask me if I want to save changes to my bitmap. Yes, I do. And I go back to Draw, and now you can see it has a little bit of a softer edge. Go back to my hard edge by hitting Undo. You can see hard edge and a soft edge. At this point, I can do whatever I want with this burrito. I can adjust my tone curve or my color balances, whatever I want. We won't go into a whole lot of that, but I'm going to do a tone curve here just to give it a little bit more contrast. I'm going to use a sharp curve. This is in CorelDraw. You don't have to go to PhotoPaint for this. Lighten up that shadow area just a bit. Like that. Darken up my highlight area up here. Like that. Keep my midtones bright, just like this. And get that burrito looking kind of the way I want. Alright, good enough. And I'm going to flop it. I just held down Control and flopped it with my mouse. I'll copy this and paste it. Now I've got two of these. I'll send that back one behind the first one, and I'll make it a little bit smaller. And I'll grab them both and change the angle a little bit. And now I can pretty much do whatever I want. These are both independent of each other. So now I've got a fairly decent rendering of two burritos. If you look at it carefully, you realize they're identical burritos. But once again, this is going to be for Facebook or a quick website, something we want it to look fairly realistic, but we don't want to waste a whole lot of time. And so what I've effectively done is eliminated the background without spending too much time. I've softened up the edge so it doesn't have that unrealistic hard edge look. And you can work on it more if you like. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to leave it at that. So that's a technique you can use to quickly eliminate the background on some photos. Once again, this won't work on something that has to have a specific geometric shape. For that, you're going to have to trace it using your Bezier and your angle keys and whatnot. We'll go into that on another video. But I'm going to leave it at this for now. Watch this again if you like. Practice this technique and you'll find yourself using it often. And I hope your next project goes well.